Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half the hockey fan.
Half a hockey fan?
Half a hockey fan. Yeah, I feel like I've been saying the wrong thing every time.
You have been, but it's very cute.
I'm half a hockey fan.
Yes. Congratulations.
Maybe like 2/3 a hockey. 60% a hockey fan this week.
All right. Well, there you go. A little more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Those who celebrate that day, I guess.
Sure.
We had a very low-key day around here. We ate meat and cheese.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Nice charcuterie plate. Plated it up all pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like to cook.
Yeah, no, there's no cooking this year.
Yeah, it's just you and me and a kid who won't eat anything. So,
and it was a day of no hockey.
And it was a day of no hockey. You know, if there was hockey, maybe we would cook hot food. But as it was just meat and cheese and fruit. And the cat is already yelling in the other room.
Yep, he heard "let's go," and he decided to start yelling for no reason.
Yep, that's pretty much the story of our lives around here.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a week.
We did.
Just a 6-day week, really. You had a whole day off of hockey.
Yeah. And I had a whole week off, which was great.
A whole week off of work, so even better.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
We did have some big news happen Sunday. Things happened in the hockey world, not on the ice, but off the ice.
What?
Paul Bissonnette, a.k.a. Cheesecake Factory, got into an altercation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
With 6 men at a restaurant in Arizona. It's his favorite restaurant. He goes there a couple times a week. They got all brawly with the wait staff there. And I guess they were told that they couldn't drink anymore and things got heated.
Oh, they got cut off. That was the anger?
I believe that was the anger.
Gotcha.
I haven't paid the closest attention of details to the story because there's only so much Cheesecake Factory I can handle in my life.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, he saw these guys getting real pushy with the managers and he stepped in and, tried to politely de-escalate the situation, by which I mean he said, hey, if you keep acting like this, we're going to have a problem. And then the next thing you knew, he was getting punched by like 5 guys.
Classic hockey player.
Really de-escalating the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big brawl. He, fought off 6 guys, 7 guys, I think actually is the story. But it was 6 guys who were arrested. He did have some bruises on his face. He got kicked in the face a couple times. But the guys in the mugshot did look, in fact, worse. So I think he was not overstating it when he said he took some, but he gave some more, I believe is what he said.
Well, everyone seemed real happy that he did that.
As somebody who worked in the service industry for a really long time, on the one hand, I kind of want to say, hey, maybe don't escalate the situation. But on the other hand, I also, as somebody who does not work in the service industry anymore and who will step into situations sometimes, good for him for standing up for people.
It's 2024. I don't step into situations.
That's also a good point. I haven't stepped into situations in a few years now, probably. It's getting a little scary out there.
Yeah, I'm going to run away. If there's a situation, I'm not interested. I've got the rest of my day to deal with.
That's probably a good strategy to have. I like to think that I would maybe just chill out and back away, but I'm also very I'm very busy and involved.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I just want everybody to be calm and cool, and I just want to help. I'm just helpful. I can't help it.
Well, you and Paul.
Me and Cheesecake Factory. We just have to look out for the little people.
No, but that's good for him because it's a place that he frequents, so he obviously probably knows everybody there by name.
Right.
He's a ex-hockey player, big guy.
If anyone can get into a fight with 7 dudes who seem, by all accounts, to be bad news bears,
right,
he at least could hold his own.
Yeah.
So good for him for doing that. They have now released security footage from those same guys beating up some people at a golf course earlier, also employees, earlier in that day.
What a bunch of winners.
Yeah, real great. So anyway, Cheesecake Factory class act. Rest of those guys, not so much.
Yeah.
Monday, we can get back into the hockey news.
All right.
So the Blues beat the Rangers 5-2. So we had on-ice beatings, not off-ice beatings.
Those are the kind of beatings I prefer.
Precisely. That is way more your speed. There was some tension in that game between Shesterkin and the Blues goalie. Much to everyone's surprise, the Blues goalie that night was not Jordan Binnington.
Oh, right. Did we see some of this?
We did.
Yeah.
We switched over to the game partway through and saw Shesterkin kind of bumping shoulders with the Blues goalie.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, oh, Bennington at the scene of the crime as usual. And then we got closer and it was Joel Hofer, who is the backup goalie. So I can only assume that Bennington has indoctrinated him into some sort of goalie fight club. So he believes that it's completely normal to just fight other goalies all the time.
I think that's great. Is this the year we get a goalie fight?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. I want Marc-Andre Fleury to be involved because he's retiring this year. The man wants a goalie goal and the man wants a goalie fight. And I think on his way out, we should honor his requests.
I think so.
He's given a lot to the game. We should give those requests to him.
You know, last night after the Blues played somebody last night, I'm sure.
They did.
And we'll talk about it maybe. But
the Flyer.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So we'll definitely talk about it.
Probably, definitely. But after that, I was on YouTube scrolling through things, and there was a live podcast with Bennington being hosted by somebody. It seemed like it was still at the arena, maybe after the game. And I caught a whole 20 seconds of it, but the guy asked him about his Tai Chi classes that he had been taking and if he was the youngest person in his Tai Chi class, and he said yes. It doesn't sound like he went very far with it, but he did say that he could see how, if he went deep with that, it could help in goaliness.
And maybe with his anger issues?
That's probably why he's not continuing.
I would imagine. I feel like tapping into that rage is really helpful for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, boy. As somebody who took Tai Chi in college to get some easy credits and then got a B, which I'm still upset about 25 years later.
You got bad flow.
I got bad flow. I'm also bad at rapping.
Did you take a rapping class?
No, I didn't have to. I have never even tried, but I just know I would be bad at it.
Awesome.
There are some things you don't need to try to know that you're not going to be good at.
It's true.
Anyway, I think that Jordan Bennington would be very entertaining in a Tai Chi class.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm glad that I don't have to be around him in that particular venue. Also on Monday night, the Lightning beat the Avs 8-2, scoring 6 goals in the first period alone. Normally, I would take some kind of schadenfreude in that sort of blowout loss against the Avs, but I can't this week right now for reasons I'll get into later.
But the Avs getting blown out's fun.
Georgiev just demolished his stick at one point out of rage. And I was like, you know what? I feel you. I feel you, Georgie.
Yeah.
It's not fun out there. On Tuesday, a new puck personality video dropped where hockey players said that they are good at hockey, but terrible at certain things.
Right.
So most of the things that we know that they're terrible about are things that we're not surprised that they're terrible at. Most of them talked about sports.
Of course.
Golf in particular being
of course, challenge. Which is basically just hockey with metal outside.
It's summer. It's summer hockey.
Summer hockey, yeah.
Summer hockey.
Great. You're into summer hockey. Awesome.
Great. Congratulations. Good job. Unsurprisingly, many of them are bad at very basic life skills, including cooking and laundry.
Not surprising.
Also not surprising.
I feel like they never had time to learn that growing up. Probably.
No, of course not. It was all hockey all the time.
And they're eating probably boring meals of just like high carb, high protein.
Oh, for sure.
So
they get their meal plan stuff. And that's that. I did find it entertaining that Jack Eichel had trouble thinking of anything he was bad at, but he offered to call his girlfriend because she would be able to rattle off a bunch of stuff that he's terrible at.
That was very personable of him.
It was. And I really think good for her. Somebody's got to keep that man humble. And so congratulations to her for doing her best and doing a service to humanity.
Yeah.
I also found it very entertaining that Connor McDavid could not get through this without talking about his platonic life partner, Leon Draisaitl. His immediate response was, Leo likes to joke that I'm a one-sport athlete. So he immediately could not talk about anything without bringing Leon Draisaitl into it.
Interesting.
He did say, I beat him at tennis a bunch this summer, so I've proven that wrong.
Yeah, which it's like air hockey.
But not air hockey.
But not air.
Hockey in the air.
Hockey in the air.
I mean, all sports are kind of the same. It's just...
I'm kind of realizing that now.
Hitting stuff or throwing stuff.
Hitting stuff with sticks. They like hitting stuff with sticks.
Hitting stuff with sticks, some kind of a projectile.
Yeah.
If you don't have a stick, then you can kick it with your leg. Mm-hmm. Sports are sports.
They do like air hockey, too. Like the real air hockey. We've seen videos of them going and playing air hockey.
I'm actually really good at air hockey. I will say that.
I wouldn't be against having an air hockey table downstairs.
We should get one.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we shouldn't, because that's my office, and then I'll never do anything ever again. Just play air hockey all the time. So Wednesday, the Capitals played the Lightning, and Charlie Lindgren lived every goalie's worst nightmare when he backhanded the puck to play it and put it directly into his own net.
My God, what a great clip.
Oh, it was painful to watch. The mortification, just the instant he did it, you could tell it's one of those things that with a goalie, I think you can put it out of your mind and move past it because you have to as a goalie. That's the thing that they train. But I'm actually waking up at the night thinking of that goal. I think I have taken on the mortification for him. It's really, really stressful, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it was pretty cringy. The announcers and various hockey people were talking about, it's tough doing that, being a goalie with the stick and, and they were just being nice. I mean, you show that to anybody, or they'd be like, why did he shoot it directly in the net on purpose? Like, it just looked planned.
And the timing of it was really bad. There were 12 and a half minutes left in regulation, and obviously this counts as a Lightning goal. So this put the Lightning ahead 4-3 with 12 and a half minutes left in regulation.
Did somebody get credit for that?
Yes, it was interesting because for a minute it looked like Vasilevsky was going to get credit. So it would have been a goalie goal, but by technicality only, which would have been really depressing.
Yeah.
It did end up going to Braden Point, who was the last player to touch it. That ended up meaning that he got a hat trick. So there ended up being a very delayed hat trick celebration, sort of an anticlimactic hat trick celebration.
Wow.
So either way, it ended up kind of being a very strange goal for credit purposes for the Lightning.
Interesting.
On top of being a strange goal for Charlie Lindgren.
Do you think he had I don't know sports betting, but like an under-over on Braden Point getting a hat trick or something? He was like, I'm getting this money.
I'm pretty sure he did not.
Yeah, definitely not.
This is the kind of thing that you have to worry about, though, with the prevalence of sports betting. Obviously, I don't think that that's anything that happened in this case, but these are at least the kinds of things that conspiracy theories can be born out of.
Absolutely.
Easily.
I'm waiting for the Pete Rose of hockey.
Oh, it's happening anytime now. Lindgren did say after the game, it was obviously the worst mistake I've probably ever made in my life in terms of on ice, which I did like the way he put that it was his biggest on ice mistake. I think that was a really...
Well, what's his biggest off ice mistake?
I hope he didn't put something somewhere it didn't belong, I guess. I don't know. I just think it was nice that you put that in perspective, that there are worse things you can do. And it is, in the end, a game and it's his job. And
absolutely.
Off ice is a different place than on ice. He did say also that he and the rest of the team were able to regroup and put it out of their minds and move past it right away. And he thinks that because they're such a close team, they didn't really crumble. Mm-hmm. They laughed it off pretty immediately. Even him, he said he just kind of had to chuckle while he chucked the puck into the stand because that's kind of all you can do in that situation. The Cavs did go on to win in OT, so it didn't end up costing them the game.
Hey, that's huge right there.
It is. And the Caps awarded him the gold chain that means he's the player of the game afterwards.
Okay.
And they congratulated him on getting his first NHL goal, which I think is a really sweet way to handle it. It really speaks a lot about the camaraderie of the team there and the connection in that locker room, that they could all really be okay with it. And the fact that several days later we've all moved on and it was just a little blip and not really sort of the highlight of the week is pretty awesome.
I love it.
On Saturday, a new PWHL season kicked off, and the opening game, the Toronto Scepters took on the Boston Fleet and won 3-1. After that, the Montreal Victoire beat the Ottawa Charge in a shootout 4-3. But the big news in our household on Saturday was that Scott Wedgwood, former backup goalie for the Dallas Stars, got traded from the Nashville Predators to the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
We love Scott Wedgwood. We were very sad when he got traded to the Preds at the end of last season.
True.
I get it. His numbers aren't always consistent as a backup goalie, but he really seemed to fit the culture. Jake Ottinger didn't want him to go. And I do think your primary goaltender should maybe have some kind of say in it. Scott Wedgwood was not asking for that much money, really. What we ended up paying his replacement was pretty comparable. I don't really get the motivation, but again, it's not my team. I don't really.
Yeah. No, we're huge Wedgwood fans. I own not much merch from the hockey side of things, and I have a Wedgwood t-shirt.
You do. It's true. I bought it for you for Christmas last year, and it's great.
Yeah.
So we love Wedgwood. We have been wanting Scott Wedgwood to come home. By home, we meant to the Dallas Stars. We did not mean to Colorado, where we live. It's going to be very strange seeing him suiting up in Avalanche colors. They're going to really wash him out. I don't like the Avalanche colors. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. No, and he's been bounced around a bit, right? He was with the Devils, and then he did some minor stints here and there, but it's an odd time to trade him, right?
It's very weird. The Preds have really gone off the rails, it seems like. All of the big moves they made over the summer that we were all excited about, it is now sort of panned out that they really were not good.
Right.
The Preds continue to not be a good team, and they're just not performing.
They got a lot of guys that are really good at the same thing rather than like a team of, I don't know, not
like
even
a team.
Like a team, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they have people who can do certain things, but they don't have people to set up those certain things.
Right.
And they have sort of overlap at certain spots.
And they traded him for another goalie.
So they signed him.
Okay.
They had a really great goalie in the AHL.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah.
They traded him for a goalie prospect that they've had in Colorado who has been really good, has been having a pretty rough season, and his trade stock has kind of plummeted a little bit.
Sure.
He's not going to be ready as soon as Wedgwood is. Colorado's goaltending is in much worse shape than the Preds' goaltending.
Yep.
With Georgiev being sort of all over the place. It's still just a very puzzling trade. There are things that the Preds need to work on way ahead of the goaltending situation.
Right, exactly. So they must have another backup then because this prospect's not ready to go.
No.
Oh. Good. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, they traded Wedgwood in the middle of a back-to-back. So they had two games, one on Friday, one on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, sorry, one on Friday, one on Saturday. They announced on, sorry, I'm mixing up my timing. Anyway, they had a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
And they announced in the middle of it that they were trading Wedgwood. They couldn't wait an extra day
right.
so he could be around to do backup. So Saros had to play 2 games in a row on a back-to-back. And at one point, the head coach was like, yeah, we think the new goalie will be here in time for this game.
Wild.
It doesn't seem very well managed over there.
No, it's just falling apart. I mean, the guy was threatening he's going to start a rebuild, and this is not the way to start a rebuild.
No, a 1-for-1 goalie trade in the midst of the week, in the midst of a back-to-back. It's very puzzling.
Like in the first third of the season, too.
Nobody understands what's going on.
That's great for them.
And I just feel bad for Wedgwood because he and his wife just had a baby last year.
Yeah.
They just finally got settled into Nashville, and now they have to pick up and move to Colorado. They have to move to Denver in December.
Oof.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
It's not a great time of year to do that.
Yeah. And he's been used to the Dallas climate for a while. And like Nashville would definitely be a change, but now he's coming here in the wintertime with no humidity. Like, how does he deal with no humidity?
I don't know. We've been here 5 years and we still are not doing well. We're very dry. We're parched.
It's a very dry state.
We're very, very thirsty all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, there were a lot of high-scoring games this week. We already mentioned that the Lightning beat the Avs 8-2 on Monday. That same night, the Sharks beat the Kings 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday, the Sharks beat the Sharks beat the Kraken 8-5.
Wow.
On Saturday, the Panthers beat the Hurricanes 6-0. Utah beat the Golden Knights 6-0. And the Penguins beat the Flames 6-2 after Sidney Crosby channeled his inner Alex Lyon and had a really intense stare down with the camera.
Nice.
It was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, we saw that.
We did. I've skipped over a few of those high-scoring games because we're going to get to them in our next segment when we talk about the Dallas Stars.
I will say those high-scoring games are usually pretty entertaining to watch, whether or not they're good.
They are good. They are exciting to watch, especially if you are on the right side of the scoring, which is not always the case.
Right.
Which, let's get into it.
Okay.
The Dallas Stars played this week.
How'd they do?
It wasn't great.
Oh, no.
I didn't like it.
Oh, no.
So we started Monday. We played against the Hurricanes in Carolina. Things actually started off great. The thruple line scored 18 seconds in. Sagan scored the goal, but things quickly began to unravel, and our special teams were once again at the center. Seth Jarvis was back after missing some games with an injury, and he scored a shorthanded goal.
Jarvis.
So don't like a shorty.
Yeah.
I like a shorty when I'm on the right side of it. When it's the Flyers and it's TK, love a shorty.
Right.
When it's the Stars and it's the other team, I don't like a shorty. All about perspective. Thomas Harley did score to regain the lead, and we did end the first period up 2-1. And then the thruple line struck again in the second period, and this time Marchment got the goal. So at the end of the second period, we were up 3-1. So it didn't look that bad, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't throw that away.
No, of course not. We're great. We're a really solid third period team. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. So the problem is that we started the third period on the power play, and we all know that that's our biggest downfall. So the Canes scored just after that power play expired, so it technically wasn't a shorty, but it was really, not even a full second after it expired. So it really was a shorty. Kind of. It just didn't show that on the score sheet, but there were really, 4 players on the ice. So
yeah.
It's not good.
No.
That's not great. It's not a good look.
No, you were not happy.
I was not happy.
We turned off part of that game and watched something else, right?
No, that's the next game. This isn't even the bad one yet.
Oh, God.
This isn't even the bad one yet. We stuck out this game.
We did. Okay. Well, those Hurricanes are something else. They look great.
They do. They look great. They looked like the better team all the way through.
Yeah.
They played a better game. They were more consistent. If we had a decent power play, it really would have made a difference. But at the end of the day, Mira Heiskanen scored, but a bunch of Hurricanes scored, and we ended up losing the game 6-4. So I'd like to say it could have gone either way. I don't think it could have, especially not with the special teams. The Canes just looked better.
They did the whole game, yeah. Other than the first 18 seconds.
Right. First 18 seconds, we really had it on lockdown. But after that, even though we did lead for a big chunk of the game, I don't think that we looked our best.
It wasn't a comfortable lead. It was like an edge of the seat, nervous, like, ooh, we're winning, but
kind of kept waiting for it to slip away, and it sure did.
Yep.
So, but I still could have maybe dismissed it as a bump in the road. But then Wednesday happened, and we played Chicago.
Yeah.
It didn't go well. I will say up front that this is the game that we could not make it all the way through. Usually I will stick it out to the bitter end with the Stars game, even if we're losing by a lot.
Right.
Because I'm of the opinion that if you're a fan, you're a fan. You stick with the team when they're winning and they're losing.
Sure.
But the Flyers were also playing that night. And usually, we watch the Stars and then the Flyers don't get watched. But, if the Stars are playing, we don't watch the Flyers. But the Stars weren't really playing, so we watched the Flyers. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah. When the Bedards are the better team, that's not a good night. Like, sure, they can win, but they don't always look like the better team when they win.
They dominate us the whole game.
Whole game.
So remember how in the Hurricanes game, we scored 18 seconds in?
Yeah.
Chicago decided to beat that, and they scored on us 17 seconds into this game.
Wild.
We had our backup goalie in the net, the Smith. Taylor Hall from Chicago is the one who scored 17 seconds in. He then scored a second goal about 5 minutes later. So this was a Wednesday game. The prior Saturday, Taylor Hall had been a healthy scratch. He has not been doing great.
Yeah.
So he scored 2 goals on us in the first, 5-6 minutes of the game.
Well, that's good for his confidence, at least.
If there's nothing else I can say about the Dallas Stars, it's that we're real confidence builders in anybody else except for the Dallas Stars at certain key times. The second goal was also squarely on Smith, who fumbled a pass trying to play the puck behind the net. And yeah, it just...
Always stressful when the goalies do bad behind the net or fan on a shot or a pass or just go out when they shouldn't have. And I always get a kick out of that.
It's very stressful.
I say, oh no, oh no, oh no.
But it's kind of fun to watch.
It is, yeah.
But it's more fun when it's not your team. Chicago opened the second with time remaining on a power play, and Connor Bedard ended the power play and his 12-game goal drought by scoring a goal.
Yeah, see? Confidence builders.
Confidence builders. If you're having a goal drought, just come to Dallas. and we will let you score some goals.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
if
thing.
you're a new player or struggling.
Right. New player or struggling, we will help you get the goals that you need. We're very generous that way. Then Teravainen made the score 4-0 after Dumba basically served up the puck on a silver platter to him.
Classic Dumba.
Classic Dumba. What about that guy?
God, 4-0 against the Bedards.
4-0 against the Bedards in the second period.
Yikes.
It was not great. Colin Blackwell did manage to get us on the board, just jamming the puck in. It was a super ugly goal, but I'll take it. At least somebody was trying something.
At least Blackwell's out there trying to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, everybody else just looked asleep.
Yeah.
And, that first goal, I think, just rattled our confidence, and nothing went our way for the rest of the game. But
rough out there.
We did the same thing to the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes came back. You have to have resilience, and we did not have any resilience that game. It was really bad. And, we really tanked in that third period against Carolina, and then it just felt like it continued all the way through the Chicago game.
Yep.
Then Taylor Hall scored again and got a hat trick. He completed a hat trick. This was Taylor Hall's first hat trick since December 5th, 2013.
That's a little while ago.
Yeah, I'm not great at math, but as far as I can tell, that's nearly 11 years. That's a long time. So again, confidence builders, Dallas Stars, building confidence, letting Taylor Hall get hat tricks for the first time in over a decade.
Yeah. And yeah, that wasn't a goalie problem per se. Like, obviously not great on the goalie side either, but it was just a organization problem.
Our defense was really bad. Dumba had so many giveaways. Brendan Smith had some bad penalties, had some bad turnovers. And I usually like Brendan Smith, but he's like a real sweetie pie, but he did not look great in that game. So that took the score to 5-1. And then Louis Crevier scored his first NHL goal to take it to 6-1.
See? Yeah, new guys.
Because that's the other thing about Dallas Stars is new guys. You got a new guy, you got a struggling guy. The Dallas Stars are going to help break you out of your slump, whatever it may be.
We should try and find a stat for that in the NHL and just see where they rank.
I'm sure there is. It's how we also make, first-time goalies look like Vezina contenders, where I don't know what it is about us. I think we're just really kind and generous, or something different entirely. If I could figure it out, I would let you know, but I don't know what it is. But It's really frustrating to watch. You know how I'm always saying that the Flyers don't have any quit in them?
True.
I think Dallas took all of their quit. That's what it felt like that game.
No, it did. It was, as you said, we didn't watch the whole game. We watched parts of the Flyers during it.
We did, yeah. We switched over, I think, end of the second, watched the whole Flyers third period. We did switch back to the end of the Dallas game, and things were not any better. We did get on the board one more time. It was Duchesne, and it was on a power play goal. So I guess there's your silver lining.
See, that's great.
If you're really squinting hard, you can find a silver lining. But I like to say I'm, relentlessly positive about the Stars.
Yeah.
In general, I'm like the biggest Pollyanna about them, but I could not find anything positive about that game. It was not good.
Now, did that game send you back to where you were a couple weeks ago with questioning the coaching staff and the decisions that the Stars have been making?
Yes, 1,000%. I completely went back on my downward spiral. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
It was not just me. It was the whole Dallas Stars subreddit.
Yeah.
I was on the cesspool known as Twitter, and
I can only imagine things were even more negative over there.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Things were not good. That was actually, we were all really lamenting the loss of Wedgwood there. And then people would say, well, it's not like Wedgwood's numbers are that good either. We're like, yeah, but we liked him. We don't really like DeSmiths.
Right. Right.
If we're going to lose with our backup goalie, at least have it be a backup goalie that we love and appreciate. So winning isn't everything if we like you.
Right.
But if you suck, then we're going to be mad. And that's just that. We're still very bitter about the Wedgwood trade, and we want him back. And then I got really excited for a minute when I saw he got traded.
Yeah.
A few days later. And then it was to the Avs and it wasn't to Dallas.
Well, he's closer to Dallas now.
I guess.
It's a quicker flight than from Nashville. There's a silver lining for you.
Are we going to have to become Avs fans to support Wedgwood? Is this what's going to happen now?
I do feel like if we find out that he's the starting goalie, we should buy some just nosebleed tickets last minute and head down there, and I'll wear my shirt, and during warm-ups I'll go like, bang on the thing and try and show him my t-shirt.
I think you absolutely should. I will be there with you.
That's definitely something I'll do.
Yes.
That's my personality for sure.
It's not his personality. Spoiler alert. I'll make a poster. It'll be great. I'll wear your Wedgwood t-shirt.
Oh, I might be
I'll
okay.
do that.
I might be okay with the poster. I just don't think I'm banging on the glass.
No, that's fine. I'll bang on the glass and wear the shirt. You do the poster. It'll be fine. We'll get you a puck. It'll be really cool.
Yeah. And, maybe that's a good way for us to, maybe we could get introduced to him and start hanging out with him now that he's close,
I think he could really use some friends.
Yeah.
Some cool friends.
Right.
That aren't Nathan McKinnon. We're not going to make him eat chickpeas all the time.
No, exactly. We'll have him come up here and hang out, and I don't know.
We're nerds too. It's cool.
I can have him tell me all about comic books.
It'll be great.
Yep.
We're going to have a great time. Come on, Scott Wedgwood.
We can have a sign that says "Be on our podcast," but it'll really just be like, maybe you want to go out to dinner.
Exactly.
And you pay.
Yeah, because you have goalie money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't. Anyway, we did end up playing the Avalanche on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And that game went a little better.
Okay.
Because we won.
Yeah, there we go.
And we looked good.
There we go.
So that helped. That was actually a national broadcast game. And I'm really relieved we won that one, because if there's anything I hate worse than losing to the Bedards 6-2, it's losing on a national broadcast and looking like stupid in front of the nation.
Right.
It's the worst. I usually hate national broadcasts. This one was on TNT. This one was great because we had a very familiar voice doing
sure
the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Josh Bogorad, who usually does the play-by-play on Victory Plus, which is the Dallas Stars, game network. He got slated to do the play-by-play on TNT. He's going to be a periodic TNT sort of fill-in commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his debut, and he absolutely crushed it.
I thought he did great. I think that's great for him that everyone got a taste of just kind of how balanced and knowledgeable and good he is.
He's so prepared. He knows so much information. Fred found an article, an interview he did about 5 years ago, and he talks about all the preparation he does. And he just has this book full of facts, and 90% of them don't make it to the air, but he has it,
Yeah.
And it's about both teams. He really looks into everything.
Right.
He really definitely, I noticed, sort of sat back when the Stars were doing positive stuff and let the other commentator talk more about the Stars stuff.
Yeah. No, it didn't feel biased. And he just provides good context and great play-by-play. I hope people liked it. I think he's fantastic. I think there are other commentators that are also great to listen to, but he brings like something else to it for me.
I have noticed on the national broadcasts that a lot of the time the play-by-play really just falls by the wayside. It just ends up being, because it's a couple of commentators who don't usually work together, so they usually end up sort of chit-chatting, and the next thing you know, you're hearing all about Nathan McKinnon's blood type, and you're not hearing about the actual game that's going on in front of you. And he does such a great job with the call. He really, really does.
Yeah. No, great balance. And you're right. Like the play-by-play on the national can often be dudes shooting the breeze for 2 minutes, and it's like, and they got a goal. And you're like, cool. We had no lead up to that. No information on, like, obviously we can see it, but like, we don't know all the names of those numbers. And yeah, so I do appreciate a play-by-play.
Yeah, I think it was great. I think it really, he really showed he was ready for the national level. Obviously, selfishly, I want to keep him at Victory Plus, but
yeah, I mean, this is what you've read that interview. This is what he's been doing and preparing for his entire life.
Yeah, his first job was when he was 16. He talked himself into what it was, a radio job covering the LA Kings or something.
Right. Yeah.
At 16 years old.
No, it's
not just that he's wanted to be a broadcaster his whole life. It's specifically a hockey broadcaster.
Right.
And that's the thing that you see a lot, on sort of ESPN and things like that. A lot of these are just sort of regular sports broadcasters who end up sort of covering hockey and just sort of being like, oh, I cover sports, and I guess hockey is one of them. He is a hockey broadcaster. That's what he does.
Right. And they've been doing, or him and Razor do the radio broadcast. So, like, especially have to be, like, descriptive and competent to sustain a radio broadcast of a hockey game.
Yeah, you really have to be able to describe what's happening on the ice for people to know. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of him. I couldn't be prouder of him if I knew him.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And as much as I love Razor, I'm glad they left him at home.
I love Razor too. The man who said on a live call when Jamie Benn and Jordy Benn combined for a goal that it was double penetration cannot be trusted on a national broadcast.
No, that's not going to be allowed.
I understand that.
It's too much. It's just too much.
It's just too much. There's too much risk. I get it. Razor is wonderful. I adore him. We are going to have a Razor segment in a future episode where we talk about his mastodonic vocabulary, if you will. But it's not going to be something that's necessarily national broadcast ready, and that's okay.
And something I don't know that we've talked about it too much, but with the Victory Plus transition from Bally Sports this year, the dress code has kind of gone out the window.
Oh boy.
And Josh looked great on the national broadcast.
He did. They definitely coordinated the outfit with the other broadcaster. They both had sort of plaid jackets, but in different colors. The jackets matched, the ties matched the jackets. Oh boy, it was a real nice change after the last several weeks of watching Razor in particular looking like he just got dressed in the dark and just pulled a bunch of things off of the floor. You know, they don't have to wear ties anymore. So
Which is fine.
I
don't need a tie.
But they're just wearing, layers and layers of shirts with a blazer over top of them and nothing goes. And sometimes the blazer has a pocket square. It's very upsetting. I'm starting to feel like they are personally targeting me.
Yeah.
With their fashion choices.
Yeah, no. So it was nice to know that he can maybe dress himself, but maybe he showed up and somebody there was like, Josh, no.
I'm pretty sure TNT has an actual wardrobe person.
Yeah.
And I think at Victory Plus, maybe Razor took charge of dressing everyone, but Brian Ray was like, absolutely not. And that's why he's the only one who looks good.
He's had a few questionable choices.
He's had a few questionable ones, but for the most part, he's doing his thing.
Anyway, shout out to Josh. Great job. Proud of him.
So good.
Couldn't be happier.
So good. He did awesome. Other good decisions that were made were that Matt Dumba was benched.
Yeah.
Also, Brendan Smith, which I can see after the prior game in Chicago, he had a really bad game.
Yep.
So Nils Lundqvist had been out for a few weeks with injuries or a few games with injuries. He was back in the lineup, and then they brought Alex Petrovic up from the Texas Stars.
Nice. And didn't you say Pete made kind of a comment about the Dumba benching, like kind of not necessarily exactly like, this is why I benched Dumba?
He did. After the morning skate, he said something along the lines of, we're a quarter of a way into the season and it's past time for our new players to understand the system or something like that. So I think referring to Dumba and Smith in that case. It was not good. It wasn't great.
It's tough for them when the system includes not passing it to someone in front of your own goal.
Right. I think that's kind of a thing that Dumba has always done, regardless of what system he's played in. That was a thing that we were warned about.
Oh, really?
Oh, that was definitely a thing I heard.
I gotcha.
Like, if you guys don't like turnovers, you shouldn't have hired Dumba.
Wow.
So it's kind of a thing that's part of his game.
Interesting.
Which is, again, why a lot of us were like, why Dumbo, why? And why many of us are, even those of us who were willing to give some benefit of the doubt are really over it at this point.
Yeah.
So Sagan opened the scoring on a power play goal.
Hey,
when the power play is going, things are good. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
And that was off a great feed from Marchment. The Avs did tie it up when former Star player and habitual player assistance program denizen Val Nichushkin scored on an Avs power play.
Yep.
But then 30 seconds later, the Stars would score again on a net front scramble. And that goal kind of went back and forth on credit, but was eventually credited to Marchment.
Right. Yep.
I was like, was it Heiskanen? Was it Marchment? Was it an Avalanche player?
Marchment knew it was him.
He did. He knew immediately. And usually when the players know, the players are right.
Yeah, usually when the puck hits their stick and they put it in the net, they're like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah. It's funny how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
So the first period ended and the Stars were up 2-1. And then in the second period, Jamie Benn scored on a wide open net. And then Rope Hintz got a second power play goal of the game. And that ended the period with the Stars up 4-1.
Nice.
That second power play goal was the one that we received based on Marchment's performance, shall we say. He got high sticked. And
he did? I didn't see him get high sticked.
I mean, I think technically the stick did hit the visor, which is technically a stick. But
okay, yeah.
Marchment has a reputation for embellishment. And
he sure does.
I constantly am posting online, I'm Mason Marchment's attorney, and he is innocent, because I do feel like he gets a bad rap a lot of the time. In this particular case, I posted, I am Mason Marchment's attorney, and this time he would have accepted a plea deal.
Yeah.
Miraculously, he did not get called for embellishment.
Oh, man. The embellishment was so heavy-handed, too.
It was real obvious.
It was some, like, bad acting.
It was, oh boy, it really, any sort of credibility I had in that, oh, Marchment doesn't mean to be that way. He just flails. So when he does get hit, he just is really, he doesn't mean to be that way, because he really didn't get hit at all.
That storyline's out the window. He's an embellisher.
Listen, I'm Mason Marchment's attorney, and you can't prove anything. So there were a lot of bizarre calls in that game. It's not like the Avs don't dive like Olympic swimmers,
Right.
They are not immune from it either. So we had some really soft calls against us. So I kind of don't blame him for doing that, if that's the only way the refs are making any calls.
Sure.
At one point, I think it was Mika Rantanen went down and just laid on the ice for a while. And I don't think anybody even tripped him, but we went to the box for that. So I guess they can go to the box for that. So anyway, the Avs did score early in the third, and that one was just a really bad deflection off of Bush's stick that Jake couldn't predict. Total freak accident. But then halfway through the third, Cale Makar did some witchcraft shit. He passed the puck to himself off the wall and then got it back, and then just skated around 3 Stars players and then passed the puck across the ice to Mika Rantanen, who scored a goal. And it was just so insane that Mika Rantanen looked at Cale Makar and went, what the fuck? When even your own teammate is impressed by your sorcery, I mean, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, I lost my mind when he did that while we were watching. I was like, are you kidding me? Did you just see that? And you're like, yeah, unfortunately, I did.
And that's really how it felt. It's so funny because he's like the most boring man alive. He plays such exciting hockey sometimes.
It was unbelievable.
I mean, this is the man who thinks mowing his lawn is fun.
Yeah.
He's a very strange person.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a crazy good play. I will say that some of the Stars fans online started melting down at that point, because at that point it was 4-3 and there were still 11 minutes left in the game. And we were all kind of foreseeing a huge, massive Stars meltdown, because that's kind of how we've been playing lately.
Yeah. I mean, if anything's going to lower your confidence, it's getting skated on like that by Makar.
Absolutely. It was completely bonkers. We did manage to hold it together, though, and Marchment hit a really clutch empty net goal with a little under 3 minutes left. Basically, they pulled the goalie, and then we immediately won a face-off. Or actually, no, the Avs actually won the face-off, but the puck sort of bounced over Makar's stick, and Mush got it and just nailed the empty net from the other side of the ice. And it was really, really crucial.
Yeah.
Because that was 3 minutes left. And, a lot of things can happen when you're down 1 goal and there's 3 minutes left. But that took it to 5-3, and that ended up being the final score. So.
Nice. Yeah, it was an okay game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good back and forth. We definitely showed up awake and ready to play. Everyone was there. I really showed how clutch the throuple line is for us. That Duchesne, Marchment, Sagan line. Really, every game this week, they have participated in some way. But they really kind of carried that game again.
And I feel like the TNT guys were like questioning if that was really the second line. Like, that's like, what are you calling them the second line for?
They've been doing that since last season. And Cheesecake Factory in particular is like, and he's really doubled down on it this year. He's like, this isn't a second line. This is a first line. This is idiotic at this point to be pretending this is not a first line. It was funny, actually. Matt Duchesne did a pregame interview with them. And before the Stars played, the Bruins and the Penguins played, I think. And they did an interview with Brad Marchand, and Biz was making fun of him for his hairline and asked him if he got, Turkish hair implants or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Marchand said he was just trying to look like the guys that beat the wheels off of you last weekend.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was great.
We caught the end of that game, too.
We did.
That was a good game.
That was an exciting one, too.
They were stressful.
Very stressful.
Swayman looked terrible.
Oh, boy.
Man, he needs to get it together.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a whole other podcast right there. But then in Duchesne's pregame, he, ended his interview by very politely saying, how nice it was of Biz to stand up for people and everything. And Biz was like, yeah, thank you for saying that, unlike Marchand. And then Duchesne was like, yeah, I saw that. That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I do think it's funny that, people are just talking about it. It's a big thing.
It's a big thing. It's national news.
It really is. I do think that it was funny that Josh mentioned at the end of the game that this snapped Dallas's 2-game losing skid. And when you put it like that, it maybe does feel a little dramatic that, it was just 2 losses, but it felt a lot more serious than that.
Yeah.
They were 2 really not great losses. The Hurricanes one, like I said, could have been just a little bump in the road, but that Chicago loss was so painful.
Yeah.
Did not like it. Just to put it sort of in perspective, we are still 3rd place in the Central Division, but we don't feel top tier to me.
Right.
So the 2 teams that are ahead of us are the Jets and the Wild. They have 36 points each.
Mm-hmm.
The Wild are tied with the Jets point-wise right now. The Jets have been having a crazy good season.
Mm-hmm.
The Wild don't have as many wins, but they have pushed it to overtime a lot.
Gotcha.
So they are getting more points that way.
Yeah.
And actually, they might be pretty much caught up on wins. So
interesting. Well, the Wild are a great team to watch.
They have been really entertaining this year.
Yep.
And I don't like saying that as a Stars fan.
We flipped it on a few times and just enjoyed it.
Yeah, they've been fun. Their behind-the-scenes stuff is pretty fun.
Yeah, their YouTube channel's fun as hell.
Yeah, it's great. I hate it.
Minnesota's a great state, too.
Oh,
I spent a summer there. It was awesome.
Yep. I'm not a big fan of any of this. I did think it was interesting, too, going back to the Duchesne pregame, that they asked sort of what is the chemistry that makes that line so great, the throuple line. And Duchesne said it was all about communication, which I remember going back to last season. Duchesne said, they probably think he's really obnoxious because he just talks all the time, just constantly.
Right.
They're always talking about things on the ice, off the ice, on the bench, just talk. And I just feel like maybe we need to put the Dallas Stars in some sort of like talk therapy or something, because I don't know if the rest of them are talking at all, but it seems like those 3 are like a tight knit bond, and then everyone else is just like coworkers, and they just go home at the end of the day and they don't interact.
Yeah.
The chemistry is bad.
I believe it.
Yeah. The chemistry just doesn't seem good right now.
No.
Or it's like, I don't know, maybe they have chemistry with each other, but not, it's just like with their friends on the team and not with like the people they're playing with.
Right. And last year, I felt like there was some chemistry there with Jamie Benn in Daddy Daycare, but I feel like maybe that chemistry's a little bit gone. And he's just been like, Wyatt, Logan, you guys are adults now. Do your own thing.
I just don't know what's happening. Something just doesn't feel right. The vibes are off.
Vibes are off.
I wish I could be more specific, but I can't.
Yep.
You know what I can do, though? I can talk about the Flyers because they bring me joy.
Yeah, they're doing great.
They're really doing good.
Love those guys.
I know. I'm so happy you chose to adopt them as your team.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an excuse to keep having them as my second team. So Monday, the Flyers played Vegas, and Vegas did end up winning that one in a 5-4 shootout. But we had some great looking goals throughout the game. Morgan Frost had a beautiful tip on a shot from Ristolainen.
Mm-hmm.
Coote scored on a breakaway from an indirect pass from TK. But the biggest news for me, I think, was that Emil Andre opened the second period by scoring his first NHL goal.
Well, let's go, Andre.
Yeah, he has been really good.
He has, yeah.
He's really stepped up.
You hear his name a lot, which is usually not always a good thing, but yeah, it's been a good thing with him. And Torts has been happy with the way he sees the ice and what he's brought to the table.
Yeah, he's really stepped it up this year. And I think he fits into the Flyer system so well. He fits into that Flyer mentality.
Yeah.
He was very cute when he scored his goal. He just sort of slammed right into the glass and was really, really excited.
Yep.
And I think, again, everyone was more excited for him than he was for himself. Michkov did score in that game as well, so he continues to just be a really huge force.
Yep.
So even though they lost, it did go all the way to the shootout, so they did get a point.
Yeah, I mean, them playing Vegas and getting a point is, I feel like, pretty great.
And really hanging in there for a while. They were up 3-0.
Right.
So they really did fantastic for a lot of the game. I think even Tort said that there were only sort of bits and pieces where they didn't look good. It wasn't like whole periods or anything where they didn't look good.
Right.
It was just a couple of minutes here and there. And Fedotov, I believe, played in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, because Urson is still out.
Right.
So, and Urson, I think they're just giving him ample time to recover this time.
Might as well, because those other guys are doing just fine.
Exactly. Well, on Wednesday, the Flyers played the Preds, and this time Kolosov had the start. A lot of the action happened in the first period. The Preds scored 2 goals, and then Scott Lawton managed to bank a goal in off of Saros' shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I need the NHL to do a better job with the highlights. So I didn't watch a lot of this game live. We only saw part of it when we switched over.
Right.
But when I was watching the highlights, at one point, suddenly Nashville was on a 4-on-3 power play. And I need to know the details because the Flyers were involved. So I'm assuming there were fisticuffs.
Must have been.
But I don't know. And those are highlights for me. I don't want to just know about the goals. I want to know about the fights.
Well, they don't want to get dinged by YouTube for showing violence.
Well, it's not even like, there's not even like a lot of punching and stuff. There's usually just a lot of like shit talking, which is what I enjoy. Anyway, there were some great defensive plays. At one point, a puck sneaked past Kolosov and Sanheim sort of knocked it out with his stick and then swatted it away with his hand.
Oh, that was a good move. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Love that.
At the end of the period, the score was still 2-1 in favor of the Preds. The Flyers pulled the goalie and then had to kill off a late penalty that was a real soft-hooking call in TK.
Mm-hmm.
With 11.4 seconds left, Frost tied it up with another gorgeous redirect in front of the net. And then Sean Couturier managed to score the OT goal while doing some aerial acrobatics. He was skating like a bad man, sort of did a one-handed tip into the goal, and then just fully wiped out the boards. But they just don't stop. They just all skate so hard, and they just keep trying until the very end.
Yep.
And
That's what makes it fun for me. The hunger and the relentlessness.
no quit.
No quit.
No quit. Not an ounce of quit in them.
Except when they quit every now and then.
They really don't quit that much, though.
No, I know. But it happens at times.
Very infrequently, though.
Sure.
They pretty much always show up. Friday, they played the Rangers, and they won 3-1 in regulation.
Yeah.
Not really much to say about that game. Pretty much anything you need to know as a Flyers fan, scoring-wise, happened in the first 6 minutes. Forster managed to chip the puck ahead and then just hustled his ass off to get to it and put in a pass to Bobby Brink, who got it in the net.
Yep.
Even though he was just being swarmed by a Ranger player. Then a few minutes later, TK got an outlet pass from Coots and managed to sneak one past Shesterkin off the rush.
Mm-hmm.
So they both looked really, really good. They were great combos of sort of speed and precision and skill. I don't know. I liked it. It was really nice to watch.
Did we watch that game?
Highlights. We watched the highlights.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember seeing that game.
No, we just watched the highlights. Fedotov did have a really great game, though.
Awesome.
He had tons and tons of good saves. I think it was Brian Boucher said that he really held them in the game for the most part. He got the sort of belts for winning the game for them, basically.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was also, I think, his birthday.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Saying happy birthday to him, although that might have been the following game. But
okay.
Either way, very cute.
Either way, he's doing well.
He's doing well. Yeah, they're doing great. Actually, I guess that would have been the next game. No, that was Fedotov. So yeah, he did really great in that game.
Awesome.
And then Saturday, the Flyers played the Blues, like we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And we actually got to watch that one.
We did.
Yeah, there were no Stars game yesterday, so we got to watch the whole game. I got to watch the whole game. You disappeared into your office with a 3D printer for a while.
Yep, that happens.
It was such an exciting game. I managed to pry you out, and you did computer stuff in front of the game instead.
Yeah.
It was really good. Owen Tippett opened the scoring, but the play was basically all Michkov. He brought the puck in and was so patient with it, and then passed it to Tippett when Tippett was almost past the goal, and he just touched it right in.
Nice.
It was so good. You noticed at the time. You commented on how patient he was with it.
Yeah, and then Bush stole my...
Stole your line.
Stole my line. I was like, I said he was patient first.
Yeah. You were like, I'm a commentator now.
And then I practiced my commentating and did bad.
Very bad. So bad. The worst. Kolosov looked really solid all game. He was really alert and aware. He was tracking the puck really well and had some really clutch saves and some excellent rebound control. Binnington was at the other end, and he also had an amazing game. He made some really fantastic saves. At the end of the first period, the Flyers were up 1-0, but it really could have been a higher scoring game on either side at that point.
Yeah, I feel like Kolosov looked caffeinated or something. Like he was like in the zone.
Kolosov was so dialed in. It felt like he had a lock between his eyes and the puck. He just was not He was zeroed in on it.
Yeah, like traffic wasn't a problem, shots weren't a problem. He was looking great.
He was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. There was one save too that Bennington made that was, I think the Flyers referred to it as a robbery. And then when I was watching the highlights last night, it was the Blues feed, and they said, "Call the cops, call the FBI." Because so Bennington was just as good as Kolosov.
Nice.
Because I really think it could have been a higher scoring game. But basically, the Flyers are up 1-0 all the way until I think halfway through the third. And then the Blues managed to tie it up. But then the Flyers managed to pull ahead again. Then the Blues tied it up again with 18 seconds left to go.
18 seconds. Yeah, Kolosov was bummed by that one.
Oh, it was so brutal.
It was 6-on-5 though then.
It was. There was a late penalty, and they had pulled the goalie.
Yep.
And it was just almost 2 minutes of just relentless hammering at him. And he had done such a good job, but he kind of had gone down on the ice to make the save, and then they kind of shipped it over him. And as soon as he realized it went in, he just put his face straight down on the ice and laying there, completely prone on the ice, face down. Just looked so sad.
Yeah, no, that's tough. I mean, you play fantastic the entire game, and then the last 18 seconds you get pummeled, and I don't think anybody was like, that was his fault. Like,
no, nobody
man,
held it against
yeah,
him.
What are you going to do?
No, he tried so hard and got so far. And in the end, it did matter because even though they went to OT, they won. I'm sorry, I got distracted. There's a cat out on our staircase.
Sure is. Going upstairs.
It sure is.
Okay.
So anyway, went into OT, which is a really familiar refrain with the Flyers these days.
They thrive in the OT, or I don't know if they thrive, but they're certainly there a lot.
They certainly keep going there. And Michkov managed to win the game in OT with his third OT goal, and it was a really, really cool OT win.
Yeah.
TK managed to strip the puck off of a Blues player and then kind of passed it to Michkov while turning around and falling down.
Yeah.
So sort of mid-fall and spin. Passed it back out to Michkov, who did his best little goblin skate.
Yep, on a breakaway.
And he had Colton Parayko all over him, and he still went in and just beat Bennington so clean.
Yep.
And wiped out into the boards, and then immediately popped back up because he had no idea if the puck went back in. And then when he realized it went in, he was so excited.
Yeah.
But that's his third OT goal this season. I got curious and looked up to see what's the record for rookie OT goals in their, rookie year.
Wow.
And right now, the NHL rookie goal record is held by Shane Gostisbehere, who in his rookie season with the Philadelphia Flyers, he now plays for the Canes, he scored 4 OT goals his rookie season.
Oh, snap.
So the fact that Michkov already has 3 OT goals a quarter of the season,
Yeah, and he's obviously their OT guy because they sent Coots in for the
face-off.
They didn't win, and then he skated right off the ice, and they threw Michkov on.
That's literally what happened. They put Coots in for the face-off. They lost the face-off. Coots went off the ice. Michkov came in, and within 40 seconds, had scored the game winner.
Love it.
It was gorgeous and fantastic. The Flyers have now moved into a wild card spot, which was something that did not seem likely even a couple of weeks ago. They have really, really turned things around.
Right. Yeah, they're in the wild card spot. And that's kind of where they were floating around last season, right?
They really were. I mean, actually last season, they were above the wild card spot for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, towards the end there.
And then they really sort of slid at the end. But
yeah, well, I've picked them to win it all this year, so.
You have, it's true.
I don't know how realistic that is, but that's what I'm going. I'd like to see them get in. That'd be huge.
It'd be great. Get them some playoff experience. I know we're still doing a rebuild. That's not a popular opinion because a lot of people would rather we tank and not make it into the playoffs so we have a better
screw them.
A better pick spot. But we have a lot of really great picks right now built up. Like we have a lot of first round picks and things built up.
Yeah.
So, let these kids get a little taste of the plaffs, especially Meech.
Yeah, right.
Let them get in them. Let them cook. They want to cook.
Let them cook.
Someone's got to teach these NHL players how to cook. And it might as well be on the ice since they're not doing it off the ice.
Not doing it off the ice.
So, the Stars games this week were not ideal, but the Flyers definitely made up for it for me.
Yeah. No, it was fun watching them. It made me proud to have my cool hat.
Your cool Flyers hat.
Yeah.
They're just so energetic.
Yeah.
They're so silly.
Yeah.
No. I just love them.
Real good. It's going to be tough when Urson comes back. They started talking about that. Like, what do they do when Urson's ready? And they were
like, do we just keep 3 goalies up?
Right.
That's unconventional, but could we do it?
I guess it's been done before, but I guess, salary cap is a question.
There's salary cap. And then there's also, if you do that, it's hard to make sure everyone's getting enough games that they're, especially development wise, are doing okay. It might be, as much as Kolosov, I think, really wants to be at the NHL level, it might be better for him to go back down to the AHL and get more game starts down there just to get more ice time under his belt.
Right.
Because if anyone goes back down, it's going to be him because he's the only way on a 2-way contract.
Oh, okay.
Fedotov, because it took so long to get Fedotov over here.
Right.
He's, 28, I think. So he is past a rookie contract. He's like on a $3 million a year and it's a one-way. So.
I mean, he could just dress the third goalie for defense or something. Just throw him out there for D.
I mean, I guess that's one way to get ice time. I feel like that's not the way to do it. There is some gif going around. I got to see the whole video, but Marchment saying that he would like to play goalie.
Really?
So I need to find that video because I want to know the context of
That'd be funny.
I would love to see Marchment play goalie. He would be the most dramatic goalie of all time.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well.
It would be great. It'd be hilarious. He'd fight so many people. He and Bennington would definitely fight.
Yeah. This was a pretty strong week of people crashing into goalies and encroaching on the territory, I felt like.
Very much. There was one goal in, it might have been the Bruins-Penguins game, where it really was just Swayman didn't like that somebody was too close to his crease or something and got mad about it and basically just stopped paying attention and then got a goal score.
Yeah, that him. I was going to say that was part of him not looking so good. Him and somebody on the Bruins just started pushing this guy back and forth like they were on the schoolyard. And then the puck went up top and came back down and was in the net the next thing you knew.
Yeah,
I feel like that kind of shit pulls him out of the game.
The discipline is not great.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I do enjoy a goalie that does that shit, though.
100%. This is kind of, I think, what Matthew Tkachuk dialed in on in that Amazon series from last season.
Right.
Where he said, Swayman's a very emotional goalie, so he likes to provoke him. I think maybe other people watched that season and was like, hey, Sway's really emotional. He can provoke him. And that might be part of the issue.
Yep.
But again, that Swayman podcast will have to wait for another episode.
Yeah.
So, well, I think we have time to play a quick game.
Do we? Okay.
I think so. So the PWHL season started yesterday, as we mentioned, and they have a new rule this season called the no escape rule. So when a team commits a penalty, whatever players are on the ice at that time have to stay there and cannot make a change until after the next face-off. Mm-hmm. And that only applies to the team that committed the penalty. So the other team can make substitutions. So you might have the top power play unit up against players that don't typically kill penalties at all. And the reason they did this was because they noticed their scoring was really low on power plays. And they're trying to sort of juice up scoring a little bit in the PWHL.
I kind of like the rule in general, but I do feel like in the NHL that would kind of hose things for the offending team.
We don't really have scoring problems in the NHL right now.
Right.
With all those blowout games we had this week.
Exactly.
So many teams dropping 6 and 8 goals on other teams. I think we're fine.
Yeah.
But it did make me wonder if there were some new rules we could propose to the NHL. Mm-hmm. So there is a rule from the PWHL that I think we should borrow. And that's the one where if your team scores shorthanded, it ends the penalty.
I think that's great. Right? I don't think I have an issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great. It's great motivation. If anything, it would be really good because it would sort of maybe make teams want to play a little more aggressively on the PK.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that would be fun. That might be tough for the Stars, but that would be fun.
It'd be so tough for the Stars, but that's why it's important. These are the things we need to do to stop being boring.
Yeah, I got to jazz them up.
I want to be exciting. Mm-hmm. Give me the excitement. The Flyers are exciting, and that's because they do shit like that.
Yeah.
So incentivize us.
I love it.
Another rule I came up with is that every team is allowed to have one overly dramatic player without being penalized for it. I call that the Marchment rule.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're just out to protect Marchment.
Yes. It's not just him. Like, I think Matthew Tkachuk would probably fall under that.
Yeah.
Travis Konechny, maybe. Although that could be Michkov, too.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, God. It might just have to be the whole Flyers roster.
Yeah,
they're a dramatic
could be Hathaway
team. Oh, Hathaway's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah.
I still think I'm going to give it to Travis Konechny. It's basically all of the people from the Matthew Tkachuk Academy for Bests.
Yeah, sure.
They're allowed to be dramatic and extra.
And so they don't get like penalties?
They can still get penalties, but people aren't allowed to talk shit about it.
I get you.
Because like that's their designated role. It's like, oh, well, he started a lot of shit, but that's like his role.
Yeah, that's his job.
That's his job. You know, it's like we have a goalie and then we have the dramatic one.
Right. That's like what Trouba was saying in that documentary about, you know, that's my job. And people don't like my job, but that's what my job is.
Right. Which his job being to slam people into the boards head first.
Yeah. Yeah. He might need to check out the job description one more time.
Right. My job isn't harmful.
Right.
My job is fun. Being the dramatic one is entertaining.
Right.
So I think I don't know. I think it's great. And then that way when Marchment does his dramatic penalty thing, people can go, oh, well, you know, he did his dramatic thing, but that's his job. So
yeah,
I guess I can't complain about it.
Right. I think that works.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very valid and very reasonable. And it does not show in any way that I am biased as Mason Marchment's attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any rules that you've come up with?
Well, I came up with.
Did you come up with like real rules? Because mine were all very stupid.
I guess I'm going to be the boring one here. Because I have a couple things that really bother me.
Okay.
I think with 3-on-3, there should be a shot clock.
I like that. I think that's a great rule.
Yeah, I'm tired of. Oh, it's a game of possession. Fuck that. Shoot the fucking puck.
Yeah.
I get so bored.
I think that's a great rule, and I think you would find a lot of support for that.
Yeah. And I don't know how that works or what that means, but like, just stop like doing changes and bringing it back and like, no, go shoot it, do your thing. And I think, it might be confusing or hard to like, you know, was that a real shot or did they make a fake shot because the clock was going down? You know, I don't know. But I shot clock for 3-on-3. Keep the 3-on-3. I think there's some people that are in the world that are like, get rid of the 3-on-3.
Most people in the world.
Yeah. No, go ahead and keep it. Just put a shot clock on it. And I don't know.
No, you're right. Definitely something has to be done about the overtime situation. I've seen different solutions. Some people have proposed doing it as a 10-minute overtime instead of 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I've seen people talk about doing it as a 4-on-4 instead of a 3-on-3.
Right.
There's got to be something else. But I like the idea of a shot clock.
Yeah.
Again, put some excitement into it.
Yeah.
Give it some drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Put some stakes into it.
Or play like half court. Like play half court 3-on-3. Do they do that in hockey? Probably not.
Probably
They do
not.
that in basketball.
I can't imagine how that would work.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm also not very sports.
I just came up with that one off the dome. It was a bad idea.
I ended up coming up with a lot of goalie-related rules, so I'll maybe just kind of get into those at the same time here.
Sure.
So one is just to eliminate the trapezoid so that goalies can play the puck more.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think that would be, again, a little more exciting.
Let Bennington go half court.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let them play. They want to play.
They've been coming way out this season, a bunch of them. So, yeah, let them do whatever they're going to do.
I also think that goalies should have to start serving their own penalties, and their backup has to come in.
I like that.
And cover them for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we've started seeing that now with, you know, if there's like a skate malfunction or something, that the backups are coming in and covering for a few minutes here and there.
Right.
So, you know, if Swayman wants to get in a shoving match with somebody, let him do it. But he has to go to the box.
Yeah.
And then Korpisalo has to come in and fill in for 2 minutes.
I think that one's really good.
I think it could be really fun, right?
Yeah, I like that one.
And then Binnington's going to be in the penalty box constantly.
Love it.
Same with like Elvis Merzlikins, who I think this week punched another player. And this is, I think, the second time for him, because I think last year he's the one who Tom Wilson went into his net and he started punching him a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And it was like the one time Tom Wilson was innocent and didn't do anything wrong. The single sole time in his entire life.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think let the goalies...
Let them cook.
Let them cook. Let them cook. I still don't entirely know what that means, but let them do it.
Yeah.
And then my big thing with the goalies is that I think once a year we should be allowed to have a goalie fight.
Okay.
We can't do it all the time.
Right.
Because this isn't the WWE.
Right.
But I think the goalies that want to fight can throw their names into a hat.
Okay. So it's like a sanctioned event.
Yes, it's a sanctioned event.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to participate if you're a goalie. You know, it's only the goalies who want to fight will participate. So they'll put their names in a hat, and then either, you know, maybe the names are drawn out of a hat or maybe the players vote. I don't know. But once they're selected, it's a total surprise to everyone except for the two goalies. And then the first time their teams face off, that's when we find out that it's goalie fight night. And then exactly halfway through the second period, the game just stops and they meet each other at center ice and fight. And then the winner is king of the goalies until next season's goalie fight. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah. We want goalie fights.
Yeah.
So let them have a goalie fight, but make it a thing.
Yeah.
Just once a year.
Love it.
And I think this year, the inaugural goalie fight should be Bennington and Fleury.
Perfect.
It's what they want.
Yeah.
Let the goalies fight.
Yeah. My some other ideas come down to, again, time management. You know, when they're doing like a wholesale line change and the dude's sitting behind the net waiting for everyone to get set up and get organized and this and that. Sometimes they're back there forever.
Right.
Stop it. Fucking move the puck. 3 seconds behind the net. You go over 3 seconds, you're fucking done. That's a penalty. I get so tired of that. There are some teams that do it a lot more than others, but, you know, this whole waiting around, and then you get the guys in front of the net, like deking them, trying to like be like, oh, I'm going to come back there. And I know they can't go back there because that's a really bad move. Like I remember hearing that last year. They're like, oh no, if they're behind the net, just leave them because they're going to burn you.
Right.
Anyway, get out from behind the net. Let's move it along.
All right. I think that's fair.
Yep.
You're a busy man. You don't have time for the shenanigans.
Yeah. No, just get out of there. I don't know.
You have things to 3D print. You don't have time for this.
And then I don't know. I've been kind of on the stop trying to murder people train this year. Like I don't feel like professional sports should be like things that end your life. You know, like you've got a head injury for the rest of your life, or you broke your neck and, oh, you can't be a person anymore. So yeah, the boarding or dangerous hits, you know, the suspensions are great. If you get suspended, when you come back, you get limited minutes.
Oh, that could be really interesting, because then that means that the team is going to be on top of you more, because they're not going to want to have to deal with having to manage that on top of everything else. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like if you get a 5 minute for, you know, a dangerous play, or, you know, you get ejected or you get a suspension. I don't know how it all works, but I do feel like the team should be culpable in some way. And, you know, limited minutes or something like that could be a way.
No, I'm with you, because I think that's part of the reason why I like the Flyers is like they're real fighty, but they're not real dangerous.
Right.
I don't feel like they're not out there putting down dangerous hits. They just get a little heated and they get a little squabbly and they talk some shit and then they shove each other around a little bit.
Right.
And usually TK is involved and he's like a foot shorter than everybody else, but he still gets in the mix and it's real cute and funny. And then they move on and they have a good time with it.
Yeah.
But they're not out there putting people in the hospital.
Right. And it's probably like the suspension level kind of, you know, stuff that I think that would make sense for. I don't know how you limit someone's play time. Maybe they can't play the second period when they come back or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's interesting. That's definitely something worth exploring. Because, I think there does need to be something that...
A $5,000 fine and you get a day off. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah. No, I like the idea of making the teams have some kind of penalty or consequence, I guess.
Yep.
I think that sounds good. I came up with the idea of no more separate penalty boxes.
That's awesome. Yeah, see, I wish I was making fun ones like that.
So basically the antithesis to your rule.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, you commit a penalty? Great. You have to be in there with the guy that you committed a penalty against. There's no pane of glass in between you guys for you to chit-chat against each other.
Right.
You can just keep on, like... The penalty box is now the place where you commit more penalties.
Yeah, and there could be penalties for penalty box minutes.
Exactly.
Like, they kept fighting in the penalty box.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's less dangerous in there. You know, you're not going to be boarding anybody in the penalty box at least. So,
although, what about the guy who opens the door? He's gonna have a lot of work.
He might. We're gonna have to maybe get a couples counselor in there, some kind of mediator of some sort.
Yeah.
But also, there should be a live feed.
Yeah, there should be.
Yeah, I think that this is necessary.
Live feed and a microphone.
And then my final rule that I came up with doesn't actually have to do with the players at all. It's the refs.
Okay.
They have to give a press conference after every game and justify all of the rulings that they made.
They're not going to like that one.
They're not.
Be like, what about this one where you didn't call Marchment for embellishment?
Well, but they're not going to have to call him for embellishment because of the drama rule.
Yeah, it would
He's just doing his job, so it's fine because he's the dramatic one.
I do like the idea of ref press conference, though.
Yeah.
That just getting their take on things would be interesting.
It would be. I mean, partially for the accountability, but also so they can, talk shit about the players if they want to.
Be like, friggin' Matthew Tkachuk out there shooting his mouth off all the time.
Like, do you want to know what he says? It's really upsetting. I know you think he's funny, but it's really quite hurtful.
Those videos on YouTube of the mic'd refs every now and then, like when they're out there having to deal with the players, it's so funny. Like they are kind of have to be like kindergartner teachers at times. They're like some of the things they say. It's
kindergarten with swearing, essentially, the way that I look at it.
Yeah.
Which is why I would make a great ref.
Yeah.
Except for that I'm blind and I can't skate.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, I'm blind, so I would be a great ref.
Yeah, you meet that qualification.
I do meet that qualification. It's the not being able to skate that's the problem. And that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on both Tumblr and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I post content whenever I remember. We're also begrudgingly on Twitter now at Slippery Ice Pod. If, like Fred, you are afraid of social media, you can email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to hear your spicy takes or get suggestions for future games. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.